Hello friends and welcome. I'd like to talk about the software and cloud costs that may be bleeding your budget dry. And they are. It's hardly breaking news. The costs have been climbing year on year and it will never stop. And I suspect in your organization, as in every mature organization, there are procurement heroes to deal with this. The problem of 2024, however, is that negotiations got tougher. The stakes got higher. The discounts got slimmer. With the cloud, what started with a simple lift and shift turned into end-to-end data center migration and developing new line of business bloodline applications. Applications not only natively developed for the cloud, but also tightly integrated into specific cloud features and environments. And as a result, procurement is finding itself at the forefront of a new era of negotiations. The era that requires cutting-edge knowledge, that needs to be data-driven, that needs a completely new set of tools and improved old-school negotiation skills taken to a completely new level. And this didn't happen overnight. The trend began in about 2021 when major software vendors realized that they have enough power and more confidence, some of them offering little or no valuable alternative for their software and services. And they decided to weaponize it further. On the other hand, we need to recognize that we have this interesting and even sad situation when procurement and supporting experts got used to relying in the last years on pure negotiation, overlooking the value of thorough preparation and data-driven leverage. I wouldn't probably go as far as to say we have become complacent, but you get the idea. And add to that the introduction of new technologies, for example, like Copilot or Teams, the negotiation experts may be entering into talks with vendors like Microsoft, lacking the required technical knowledge and lacking the up-to-date, top-notch negotiation skills. There is a skill gap between the vendor and the customer. It's not entirely new. We saw something like it 10 years ago, roughly 10 years ago, with the introduction of services like Office 365 and software as a services in general. What I want to do today is to stay away from discussing extremes like the recent acquisition of VMware by Broadcom. Let's just talk about one vendor that our team at SAMexpert knows best, the vendor that has such a strong offering and presence and integration of everyday operations, both in the cloud and on premises, so they almost have become almost like a water or electricity. It's Microsoft. Negotiating with Microsoft now in 2024 is entirely different from what it was in 2014 and even in 2020. Microsoft continuously improves its sales tactics. It continuously trains its sales teams. There are now so many battle-proven tools in their tool belt. Stage discounts, simultaneous negotiating at multiple levels in your organization, much improved and more mature value presentation, and more. Since you are probably in their cloud, Azure, or somehow connected to it with technologies like Azure Stack, Microsoft negotiation plans are often data-driven. It's your data that drives their negotiation. They may even know more than you do about what's going on with your consumption of their products and services. And they also continuously improve its position with introducing new cutting-edge products. And the best example right now is Copilot for Microsoft 365. Which many experts, including us, call the new Excel. And there are consequences. One of them is Microsoft positions more and more products at fixed price. M365 Copilot is an excellent example. Such approach is highly unusual to Microsoft. If you know how enterprise agreement works, for example, there are predefined programmatic discounts depending on the size of your organization. It just does not apply to Copilot. And although negotiating a discount on Copilot is not impossible, we've done a few. Please don't overstretch your expectations. Unless your organization is humongous and influential, you'll probably end up with a single digit. You'll be lucky if you get 2 digits on the discount. And even on traditional products and services offered via traditional ways, negotiated discounts are still decreasing. Of course, your particular situation will depend on multiple factors like your organization's size, your marketing initiatives together with Microsoft, your industry, the quality of your team, your preparedness. But everyone is seeing a palpable decrease. If, for example, your regular discount was 20 to 25% previously, consider yourself negotiation superheroes if you manage to achieve the same figures this year. Plus, most of the time, what will Microsoft do is this will be your initial discount, which will then decrease year on year. So when you approach your next renewal, you will be in a weaker position and Microsoft will be in a stronger one. So I guess by now I painted a very dim picture about what is the lesson. And the lesson here is simple. You can no longer approach negotiation unprepared. You can't anymore just wing it solely based on your charisma, connection, and even your multi-year experience of agreement renewals. So how do you prepare? Let me give you some practical advice. Point number one that I personally strongly believe in is that the optimization has returned. In recent years, and I'm talking about almost 10 years, many large organizations, especially really large enterprises, have lost their focus on optimization because negotiation was easy. When discounts flowed freely, it was easy to just negotiate. Often, though, I must give it to them, relying on tactical preparation and looking ahead. But with decreasing discounts and more aggressive negotiations recently, it's entirely up to you to decide whether you can continue ignoring the data-driven optimization and preparation, or it's maybe time to bring it back if you want to squeeze every opportunity. And there are at least two reasons to resurrect optimization pre-negotiation. The first one is it's a chance to clean up your house. Unless you have a fantastic software asset management and FinOps team, there are always unused products. There are always unused technologies, unused cloud resources. As a result, there are also compliance discrepancies. In the organizations where software asset management and FinOps are not mature, a thorough, truly data-driven optimization can uncover 40 to 50% of the next term's potential savings or more. And the second reason is this is an opportunity to learn about your estate. Forgive me for repeating the banality, but knowledge is power. And this is especially true in negotiations. Microsoft will come prepared. Their team will have enough data to closely monitor signals from your side and telltale signs about your knowledge of your own estate. But even if you decide to ignore the optimization stage, a thorough strategic planning is vital. And I'm talking firstly now about the technology planning. Answer the questions. What technologies do you want to deploy? What Microsoft 365 packages will you need and why? What are your personas? What are the alternatives? The alternatives to, say, Microsoft E5. And even that is not the most important part. The true key to success is to be properly professionally prepared for the negotiation itself. You need a plan that includes your most desirable outcome. What is your ideal picture? Where do you want to be? What discounts you want to get? What products you want to get? When? How? On what terms? In addition to that, your least desirable outcome. What if negotiation doesn't go your way? BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Here we're not talking about you going away from an enterprise agreement. But for example, if you're negotiating a discount on Microsoft 365 E5, the biggest all-inclusive, not truly, but all-inclusive package, your partner may be staying on Microsoft 365 E3 and taking alternative security products. Your plan must establish very clear roles and responsibilities for negotiation. When you build a team, roles and responsibilities must be very clearly assigned to each team member and also to each involved stakeholder level, each involved seniority level. We also advise to engage your legal department from the very start. We're not saying bring them into the negotiation room. That is usually not the best advice. But they must be prepared. They must understand what you're talking about, what the agreements are about, because you may need them later. You might. And I'll repeat myself, prepare your stakeholders, especially senior ones, especially at the board level. All the escalation points up to the board level. Get everybody on the same page. Get them agree with the plan. Nobody can afford an uninformed decision maker at the top level, undermining the effort of the entire negotiation team. And that happens. And last but not least, your plan needs to be agile. You need to have room for maneuver. You need to be ready, whatever happens. So with all this in mind, this stage's deliverable must be a detailed negotiation plan, a detailed negotiation playbook. I would even put it this way, a playbook that captures every detail and establish the process, the framework, and the deliverables. And when I talk about details, you should include stuff like communication protocols, vendor interaction strategies, even tactics, and an explicit escalation process, both on your side and on the Microsoft side. The plan should also include a readiness for modern-day tactics in Microsoft negotiations. So let's discuss a few, starting from you should expect from Microsoft. And the top three are as follows. Suite discounts. Instead of discussing specific individual product discounts like Copilot, what Microsoft may fall back to is having conversations about the discount on the entire Microsoft 365 suite. What it does is it takes away from focusing on particular products and takes it to a higher level, which is a little bit harder to discuss. And as a result, you may not achieve what you wanted to achieve. Yes, this may make the entire suite more appealing, but it takes away the focus and may not be what you wanted to do in the beginning. The second tactic is, we call them declining discounts. You can call them stage discounts, decreasing discounts. Microsoft offers discounts that decrease year on year. And what this does, it ticks two boxes. It gives you a very quick satisfaction because the discount in the first year could be even higher than you asked for. But by the end of your agreement's term, the discount decreases to the point that provides Microsoft with a much better starting position in the next term, in the next negotiation. It's quite challenging to then start a new discussion from asking for more again. So Microsoft's starting point in 3 years from now is better and yours is weaker. And the point number 3 is the page from an age-old sales book, linking quantity to tiered pricing. It's always worth reminding of the importance of balancing the lure of a better discount if you commit to a bigger volume with the actual needs. And this tactic also ticks at least 2 boxes. Firstly, most clients psychologically tend to commit to more when the discount is attractive enough. And the second is a hidden trap. Because as a result of overcommitting, you may actually start consuming that quantity. And then you'll approach your next renewal with potentially dead weight of services and software you don't require. Our professional tip here is exercise restraint. It's always better to undercommit, even if a discount looks very promising. So that's about Microsoft's tactics, but what you can do, what you may consider. And let me give you a few points here as well. Firstly, obviously, recognize the influence of your organization's size. And not only size, let's also talk about the brand. The size and the brand play a crucial role in negotiations. The bigger you are, the larger your organization is, the more famous is the brand of your organization, the better leverage you have in negotiations. It seems simple, but we sometimes witness even influential companies being afraid to negotiate aggressively with Microsoft, being intimidated by them. If you are large, you have greater bargaining power. Leverage it. And going back to the brand, this works really well with the next point. Microsoft may be willing to provide you additional discounts for marketing initiatives. If you agree to provide them public relation opportunities, them referring to your name, using your organization as an example case, even regardless of your size, if you're open to it, ask for a discount. And the more influential your brand is, the better discount you may ask for. Our tip number 3 is don't forget that you negotiate with people. Yes, you negotiate with Microsoft, but you negotiate with people. So utilize the motivation of your Microsoft account manager. It's crucial to recognize that your Microsoft account executives have specific targets, strong incentives to offer new and exciting cloud products and software. Copilot is a good example. It affects their performance, it affects their own personal position in life and in Microsoft itself. How do you know what drives them? You can either do a recon. You can ask professional negotiators, or you can have an unofficial open conversation with your Microsoft account executive. And the last but not least, especially for new products, you can negotiate partner incentives, so-called partner incentives, where Microsoft pays to a Microsoft partner to help you implement a certain product. This is not a discount on the agreement, but it may help you not only reduce costs of the implementation itself, but also just do it better with a partner that knows how to implement that certain product. Suppose you have this plan. Suppose you did everything, what we just discussed, ticked all these boxes, your negotiation starts. The first point that I want to emphasize again is be ready to adapt. Whatever happens, be agile, be flexible. In our experience, you need agility. You must be able to adapt to changing circumstances and moving goalposts. Some challenges requiring you to adapt may come from unexpected places, including your internal stakeholders. The other point is, I'm unsure I need to remind you, but refrain from spontaneous decisions. If there's a new offer or input, especially during an on-site face-to-face negotiation, always take your time. Never come back with an answer immediately. Do the homework, thinking, brainstorming, consulting with your team in the comfort of your own environment. By the way, this is a famous technique of Japanese negotiation teams, and we find that it works regardless of your culture. Internal collaboration. Internal collaboration is the bloodline of every negotiation. Microsoft will try to negotiate on every level, on every seniority level, starting from your technical contacts, the people with whom the technical account managers talk, and going up to your chairman. Every such contact, especially here, must be under very strict control and visibility. Establish the necessary lines of communication, monitor and react accordingly. Everything what we've just discussed, communication, not taking spontaneous decisions, every level must play exactly by the same rules. Be careful, however, not to overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, especially in highly politicized organizations. Overdoing and overcomplicating the internal reporting process drains the energy from the team and from the process and risks undermining it. With all these checks and balances in place, only when you have all these checks and balances in place, don't shy away from informal conversations with Microsoft. Informal conversations add a valuable dimension to the entire negotiation process, as long as you don't leak out vital information. The bottom line is that to continue achieving stellar negotiation outcomes, we must constantly evolve. The days of casual negotiations are over. The question is, are you ready to step up your game, or are you prepared to start paying more for less? That's the choice. I hope you learned something valuable, and thanks very much again for being here.